The rope snapped tight with a sound that cracked through the square like lightning, and every head turned to watch her fall still beneath it. The sheriff's hand dropped. The murmurs began again, soft, eager, cruel. Wind swept down the street, dragging dust and dry petals through the air. The town smelled of horses, old wood, and judgment. She stood barefoot in the grit, wrists bound above her head, a faint tremor in her shoulders the only sign she still fought the pain. Her dark hair clung to her face, and her eyes, clear, deep, and far too calm, searched the horizon as if she could walk there simply by willing it. The sun pressed against her skin, hot as guilt. No one spoke her name now. They just called her the Cursed One, a story they could believe. The sheriff shifted his weight, hat pulled low. "She'll stay till morning," he said, voice dull as an empty barrel. "Let her shame cool her spirit." He turned away. The crowd began to break apart, men muttering, women shaking heads as if to dust off sin itself. A boy, maybe 10, lingered behind his mother's skirt, eyes wide. She tugged him away before pity could plant itself in him. When the last footsteps faded, the square became still again. Only the rope creaked in the wind. Far off, a rider appeared, small against the glare. His horse moved with the lazy rhythm of long roads. A man of 35 perhaps, sun-scarred, coat open to the air, a kind of weariness that looked permanent. He didn't ask what happened, he just stopped and watched. The shape of the bound woman caught his gaze like a memory. He dismounted, boots sinking in dust, and tied his horse to the rail outside the saloon where a sign swayed on rusty hinges. A few townsmen were still there, half drunk, proud to be witnesses. The rider asked one, his tone quiet but firm, "What's her crime?" "Defied the preacher's boy," one said, spitting. "Spoke some words over him, said she bewitched him into chasing her. Her kind's good at that." The man said nothing. His jaw worked once. "And you believed him?" The others laughed, the laughter of those who have never seen a mirror. "Don't need to believe. Town needs peace." He looked back toward the post. The woman hadn't moved. The late light painted her in gold that made the dust glow around her like smoke. He walked closer. No one tried to stop him. Maybe they thought he'd spit too. Maybe they thought men always watched for sport. He stopped a few feet away. Her breath was shallow. The skin around her wrists was raw, blood mixing with grit. "You should leave," she said without looking up. Her voice was low, sanded smooth by exhaustion. "Should I? They'll think you mock them, talking to me." He tilted his head. "Don't need their thinking. Got my own." A silence passed between them, heavy and still. The wind lifted her hair, and for a heartbeat, her face turned toward him, fierce, not broken. "What's your name?" he asked. "It was mine once," she murmured. "Now it belongs to their stories." He studied the knots, the way the rope bit into the post. "You want to be free?" Her laugh was short, cracked. "Freedom's a word men give themselves. Women earn it by surviving." Something flickered behind his eyes, recognition. He stepped forward. She flinched, not from fear, but from disbelief. He reached up, fingers brushing the rope. "Don't," she whispered. "The sheriff will hang you for defiance. Then we'll both be remembered honest." The knot loosened with a rough sound. Her arms fell, limp. For a moment, she swayed like a branch freed after a storm. He caught her before she touched the ground, steadying her gently. Her skin was fever-warm, heartbeat fast against his hand. She tried to pull away. "You don't even know me." "I don't need to," he said. "I can see you're real." The words broke something fragile between them, maybe the distance shame had built. She looked at him then, really looked, and saw not pity but quiet anger, the kind born from witnessing too much cruelty. He untied the last length of rope and tossed it aside. It landed in the dust like a shed skin. Behind them, a lantern flickered in the sheriff's window. The town wasn't asleep, it was watching, waiting. "You can't save me," she said softly. "They'll find me come sunrise." "Maybe," he said, eyes on the horizon where the night gathered. But sunrise ain't here yet. He took her hand. For a moment, she didn't move. Then she did. Together, they walked through the square, footsteps fading into the dark, the sound of rope creaking one last time behind them. At the end of the street, he paused, looking back once at the post, then at her. "You still got a name," he said quietly. "You'll remember it before the night's done." The moon rose over the silent town, pale and distant, as if it too had chosen to look away. And somewhere in the dark, a window shutter slammed, a warning, or a promise. Gunfire tore through the dawn. One bullet struck the barn wall, splintering wood above their heads. The woman woke to the echo, heart pounding, breath sharp in the cold air. Smoke from the dying fire curled through the cracks as the cowboy moved fast. Already on his feet, revolver drawn, eyes hard with a calm that came from too many close mornings. "They found us," she whispered, clutching her side where rope burns still throbbed. "Then we'll ride," he said, voice low but steady, a command shaped by mercy rather than fear. Outside, horses neighed and boots struck gravel. The sheriff's men were closing in. He reached for her hand, pulled her toward the open door. She stumbled once but kept her footing, refusing to be carried. Freedom was no gift she'd take sitting down. They burst into the open, mounting his horse in one swift motion. The animal kicked up dust, muscles straining as they galloped toward the ridge. Wind whipped through her hair, carrying the sting of rope and the scent of smoke. Behind them, shouts rose, faint, furious, fading. When the first hill broke their view of the town, he slowed the horse and glanced back. "You all right?" She nodded, though her face was pale. "You risked everything." He shook his head. "I just stopped pretending not to see." They rode on until the land turned open and wild, sagebrush spreading like an ocean beneath the morning light. When they finally stopped near a dry creek bed, silence returned, thick, trembling, almost holy. She slid down from the horse, legs weak. "You should have left me," she murmured. "They'll hunt you too." He crouched to pour water from his canteen, offering it to her. "I've been hunted before," he said simply. "But this time it feels worth it." The words hung there, gentle but heavy. She drank slowly, eyes tracing the horizon. The sun had begun its slow climb, bathing the land in pale gold. For the first time since her capture, her shoulders loosened. She could breathe again. He studied her quietly. Beneath the dirt and bruises, she carried a grace that wasn't fragile, it was forged from endurance. "What's your story?" he asked. She hesitated, then spoke. "I told the preacher's son no. He wanted what wasn't his to take. When he came to my people's camp and shamed himself, he called it a spell. Said I bewitched him. They believed him." Her voice wavered, then hardened. "No one asked if I wanted him. Only if I confessed." The cowboy's jaw tightened. "And you wouldn't, would you?" she asked. He met her eyes. "I've confessed to plenty of things I didn't do. Just to end the noise." Her gaze softened. "Then why didn't you lie this time?" He smiled faintly. "Because you didn't." They sat in silence a while, the world around them stretching wide and quiet. A hawk circled high above, distant and free. "You ever think of going back?" she asked. He looked at the horizon. "I once thought I'd die in that town. Then I figured living different might be harder, so I tried that instead." The wind shifted, carrying distant echoes of hooves. She stiffened. He heard it too. "They're coming." He stood, checking his revolver. "Only 2 bullets left. We can't outrun them forever." "I'm not running anymore," she said. He turned to her. There was no fear in her eyes now, only something fierce and clear, like truth catching fire. "You don't have to fight," he said. She stepped closer, almost smiling. "You didn't untie a victim. You untied a woman who remembers how to stand." The sound of riders grew louder. Dust rose on the ridge. The sheriff's voice carried through the wind, calling his name now, not hers. "Jonah Creed." The cowboy exhaled slowly. Guess they do remember me after all. She looked at him, understanding dawning. You were law once. Was, he said. Till I saw what law forgot. The first rider came into view, gun drawn. Jonah fired a warning shot into the dirt near their feet. The men halted, wary. He raised his voice, rough but clear. You'll not take her. You want a prisoner, take me. The sheriff's face twisted in disbelief. You'll hang for her, Creed? Jonah's hand didn't waver. If that's what justice costs. Behind him, she laid a hand on his shoulder, steady as a vow. The wind pressed against them both, hair and fabric moving like flame. The sheriff hesitated, caught between order and something older, respect, maybe shame. He lowered his gun slowly. You ride out, he said finally, and don't come back. Jonah nodded once. He didn't thank him. He just turned his horse toward the open plains. She mounted behind him without a word, her arms wrapping loosely around his waist. They rode until the voices behind them vanished, until even the sound of pursuit dissolved into the hush of wind. The sky ahead opened wide and merciful. When they reached the ridge, she looked back one last time. The town was only a smudge now, swallowed by distance. They'll say we ran, she whispered. He smiled faintly. Then they'll never know we were free. For a long moment, they said nothing more. Then she touched the back of his hand, soft as a promise. Somewhere behind them, thunder rolled, not from clouds, but from hooves too far away to chase. He looked at her, eyes reflecting the pale gold of morning. You remember your name yet? She met his gaze, voice steady. I remember it now. And as the wind swept past, carrying the last traces of dust and judgment, her name rose with it, strong, unbroken, unashamed.